Happy Monday, everyone. Carmen Broxma here with Choose Joy with Carmen. And today I'm here to do a card that I wasn't able to do last week because it got crazy. My new year didn't start off so great with my computer crashing and having to purchase a new one, but I think I'm getting up and running with that. So we are here today to create a card, and maybe it's a good thing that we had to wait a week because now I can actually open up the catalog because it is now live. So today's card is going to be based on the Rainbow of Happiness that's on page 18 right here of the mini catalog. And this is such a fun set. I think it's very cheery and I think it's a great set. And what we're going to use with it is the designer paper that you can earn in the celebration called Sunshine and Rainbows. And this paper is just a lot of fun. I mean, look at all the fun things that you can do with this pack of paper. So I will show you the two pieces of designer paper that I am choosing to use. But if you want to get this paper, you're going to need to place a $50 order in order to earn it for free. So let's close this all up and get this out of the way. And then let me go ahead and show you the two papers that I chose out of this that we're going to be using. We're going to be using this one and also the back side and this one as well. On this side only. Here's the back, but I'm not using that. So, and what I did for this card is I made it because I wanted to be able to send it out to my customers who ordered, not my customers who ordered, to my customers who have a birthday in January. And so I made this specifically for them because I wanted to be able to send them the coupon that you get in your birthday month. And so this was the card that I decided to make for them. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight card base, and I'm going to go ahead and let me get started with the die cutting because I want to show you something. In that set, I got the whole bundle. And so when you go to cut your paper, I'm sure you all get the same little pieces of strips like this that I get. And so basically what I did was I lined up this die that comes in that bundle. And I went ahead and lined it up the best I could, something like that, and then I ran it through the die cut machine. And this is going to be a little longer than we need, but I'd rather it be like that so that I can do my trimming later. And so basically you're going to end up with a piece like this. And I'm going to use this for the bottom of the card. And I will provide all the dimensions later. So because I want this to be basically at the top of this piece, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to glue it from this angle. But first I'm going to go ahead and get my silicone mat out so that I don't get glue everywhere, because I want to do this with the liquid glue so that I can have that wiggle room that I need. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue at the bottom of this strip. And you probably don't need it to go all the way because we're going to be doing some trimming. But that's why I have this mat here, because I'm probably going to make a mess. And then I just want to make sure that my suns on this paper is in the right direction. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and then try to line it up evenly from either side of this border that I die cut, just so that it's pretty even, because when I go to trim it, I want it to be pretty even. And then I'm going to just move that around so that I can get that glued down, hopefully evenly, with the same amount of border. And I think that looks pretty good. So there we go. Well, if you turn it around the other side, it looks a little crooked, doesn't it? So maybe it's best to do it from the front side. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think good enough for me anyway, because that designer paper might have been cut just a little crooked as well. So anyway, there's that. Now I'm going to take my paper snips and trim off any of the excess that I don't need on the edges here on both sides. And then that piece is done. So now we want to go ahead and take our basic white that we're going to use to mat on the front of our Misty Moonlight base. And I'm going to want this at the bottom, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put this piece on the top first. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Seal to get that attached to the basic white here. So let's get that attached. And I'm going to do this upside down so that I can get the border that I like evenly around. Okay, there we go. Now I can go ahead and attach this. And see, now if I feel like it's too small a border down here, I have the ability to move it up a little. So I'm going to go ahead and again use my Stampin' Seal. You could use your liquid glue if you wanted that wiggle room, but I'm going to take my chances and hope that I can do it without making a mess. So let's go ahead and see how I do getting this, because now not only do I have to watch the borders, but I have to watch the edges so that they line up nicely on the edges there as well. Okay, there we go. So now I think we can go ahead and add this to the front of the card. So let's do that. And then we'll move on to the next piece. And you're just going to laugh at the next little trick that I came up with. And it was all by accident, because when I was die cutting, my plates are so old and they've been well loved and used that a funny thing happened. And so I can't wait to show you that. So next I wanted to go ahead and die cut this out because I want to use this for my sentiment. So when I ran it through with some basic white scrap, and I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I pulled this up, and the three little, because look at how old my plate is, and I guess because of that it stuck to here, which ended up being kind of nice because now I can go ahead and color right on here, which I thought was kind of clever, but I don't know that I can get it to do that all the time, especially if I have new plates. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Blends, and basically I'm going to try to match like this rainbow here on this paper. So I'm taking, and I wanted to use all of the lights for all the colors that I chose, but when I went to go get my Magenta Madness, the light one is totally dried out, so I need to order another set. So I had to settle for the dark on that. So now I'm going to take, because if you notice, I'm going to try to go in the same order of that rainbow there. So I'm going to take my light petal pink, And I'm just going to color the bottom of that rainbow. Then I'm going to move on to the dark magenta, even though I would prefer it to be light, but mine was all dried out. And I'm going to color that next strip and move on to the next color, which I chose to be the light pool party. And I like to use the brush end of this. Just seems to be nicer to color. And then last, I used the light mango melody. And these are colors that are in this designer paper pack. Okay, so now that we have those colored, now let's go ahead and I took a piece of this designer paper and cut it down. And basically, I'm going to be putting this on here. So let's go ahead and do that next. And I'm going to go ahead and this one I'm going to use the liquid glue so that I can move it around. And I should have brought my silicone mat in here because once I start putting on these little parts right here, I could get it on my countertop here. So let me go ahead and add a little bit of glue in all these areas. And now I'm going to go ahead and see, it's a good thing I use that because look at, there's some glue there. And better on there than on my counter here. So now I'm going to lay this here, trying to get an even border all around. And there we go. Now the tricky part is to get these strips that I colored back into where they belong. So I'm probably going to use my take your pick tool for that. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue in each of those sections. And my suggestion would be to do it, do the glue in those sections separately, because I tried to do it all together, and by the time I got to the top one, it was dried out. So I'm going to place this right in there. And then I'm going to put glue in the next section. And continue on until this gets all done. Okay, so that's done. So now let's get this stuff moved out of the way. And you know what I should have done first, which wasn't very smart on my part, was I should have done my stamping first. Just in case I messed it up, that I wouldn't have gone through all that work for nothing. So let's just hope that I am able to put my sentiment on here without any problems. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. It's called A Little Something to Brighten Your Day. And that's out of this stamp set right here. And I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight. So let's go ahead and ink that up. And let's hope that I get this nice. I'm gonna stamp it toward the top because I want to put some embellishments toward the bottom. So let me go ahead and put that down. Oh, there, it came out good. So don't do what I did. Make sure you do your stamping first, so that way if you mess up on the stamping, you wouldn't have gone through all that work and have to do it all over again. Okay, so now I want this on the front of my card here. So what I'm going to do, but I want it popped up. So I noticed that this is a little sticky. I got a little glue on the outside, but hopefully that'll dry and it'll be good. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Dimensionals and I'm going to put several on the back so that it can pop up nicely and evenly on the front of the card. And take these off. Okay, now let's put this in the center, and I'm going to line it up with the top of my, I'm going to try to, you know, be right over the two there evenly, but I want it mostly over the, lined up with the top. So there we go. That's popped up there. Now I want to use these new brushed brass butterflies. They are so pretty. So I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to get the larger one. Let's grab one of these larger ones, and let's put it right over here. And then we want two baby ones following their mama. So I'm just going to kind of put them kind of here, you know, like they're just flying in a little pattern. There you go. Isn't that cute? I just love it. Such a cherry little card. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is get the inside. So there was a little piece of this designer paper left over, and it's not going to reach the ends, but that's okay. I like it like that. You could use either side, but I want to use this side, I believe. I like that better. So let's go ahead and get that adhered to another piece of basic white that's going to go on the inside of this card. And again, I'm going to just line this up, giving it a nice even border. Then we'll take that and adhere that to the inside of the card. So there we go. There we have it. I think this is going to be it for this card. So let's get that evenly in there. Okay. So there you have it. There's that card. And like I said, this went out to those of my customers that have a birthday in January. And I put inside a coupon that they can use during their birthday month. And that's what I will be doing for all my customers this year. I want to give them a little coupon in the month of their birthday so that they could use it if they'd like. Okay, I think that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed this card. If you did, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel and want to make sure that you don't miss any future videos, then you can subscribe. And hopefully, with my computer going down, I wasn't able to get my blog launched yet, but it's really close. And then I will be having these cards on there with all the dimensions there, which will be a whole lot easier to go back and reference. So hopefully that'll happen this week. So you all have a great week, and we will see you next Monday for our next episode of my MoJOY Monday. Bye-bye, everyone.